You know, our planet feels pretty solid under our feet, right? Like it's always been here, a permanent home. But the truth, the real story of Earth's 4.5 billion year history is one of unbelievable violence and constant radical change. So let's take a quick dive into that epic journey.
I mean, just think about this. Our world has been pummeled by asteroids, it's literally crashed into other planets, and it's been frozen solid multiple times. It's honestly a miracle we're even here.
So the big question is, how did that chaotic, hostile ball of rock transform into the beautiful blue marble we all know and love today? Well, that's the story we're going to unpack right now.
Okay, so our story kicks off about 4.5 billion years ago. And it doesn't start with a planet, but with this huge, swirling disk of gas and dust, basically the raw ingredients for an entire solar system. Around that time, the center of that cloud collapsed in on itself, getting hotter and hotter until, bam, it ignited to become our sun. In the spinning mess around it, little bits of matter started clumping together, forming the rocky inner planets. But our baby Earth wasn't alone. Nope, it was on a direct collision course with another young planet, about the size of Mars, that we call Theia.
And that impact was just cataclysmic. This young Earth was a total volcanic nightmare, just spewing out this toxic atmosphere of methane and CO2, all while getting hammered by leftover asteroids. Oh, and all the debris from that giant smash-up with Theia? Well, gravity pulled all of that rubble together, and that's how we got our moon.
So for millions of years, Earth was this molten hellscape. But then, things started to change. The planet began to cool down, and that set the stage for one of the most important ingredients for life as we know it.
By about 3.8 billion years ago, the surface was finally cool enough for all the water vapor trapped in that thick atmosphere to condense. It started to rain, and it rained for centuries, forming the very first oceans. Our hot rock was finally becoming a water world.
And you know what happens when you get water, right? Life isn't usually too far behind. Around 3.7 billion years ago, the first tiny microscopic organisms showed up in those new oceans. And soon after that, volcanic landmasses started pushing up from the depths, eventually merging to form the first little supercontinent, a world called Valbara.
Now, this is where the story gets really wild. See, life didn't just adapt to the Earth, it fundamentally remade the entire planet. These tiny little organisms became the greatest planet builders in history. The hero of this part of our story is a tiny organism called cyanobacteria. About 2.4 billion years ago, it figured out a revolutionary new trick. It learned how to eat sunlight. We call this process photosynthesis, right? It turns sunlight into energy. But it had a waste product. A waste product that was actually poison to the old atmosphere, but would end up creating a whole new one: free oxygen.
This was maybe the single greatest change the planet had ever seen. On the left, you've got this toxic world, probably with a reddish sky. And on the right, a world being completely terraformed by tiny microbes, pumping the atmosphere full of oxygen and paving the way for the blue skies we have today.
But there was a totally unintended consequence. All this new oxygen in the air reacted with the greenhouse gas methane, which caused global temperatures to plummet and plunge the entire planet into its very first and very deep ice age.
Once the ice finally thawed, life got weird. In a period we call the Cambrian explosion, evolution just hit the accelerator. All of a sudden, we start seeing animals with complex bodies, things with shells, spines, and legs. The poster child for this crazy era, the wonderfully bizarre trilobite. Okay, so the stage was now set for the really big guys. This next era of Earth's history is all about massive continents, devastating extinctions, and of course, the reign of the most famous creatures to ever walk the planet. But man, it was a brutal cycle of creation and destruction. 440 million years ago, we had the first mass extinction, but life bounced back, with trees and animals finally moving onto land. By 250 million years ago, all that land was fused together into the supercontinent Pangaea. And then, disaster. The Great Dying, a mass extinction so severe, it wiped out something like 90% of all life on Earth. So here's the key thing to understand. That catastrophic event completely cleared the board. It created this huge evolutionary vacuum, which made space for a whole new group of animals to rise up and completely take over.
And who filled that vacuum? You guessed it, the dinosaurs. For an incredible 150 million years, they were the undisputed rulers of this planet. From the absolutely colossal Argentinosaurus to the fearsome T-Rex. Their incredible reign only came to an end 66 million years ago when a massive asteroid slammed into the planet, changing the climate forever.
With the dinosaurs gone, mammals who'd been kind of living in the shadows finally got their chance, and among them was one lineage that would eventually lead to us. Now we get to our own story, and you're about to see just how unbelievably brief and explosive it really is. Seriously, if you imagine Earth's entire history as a 24-hour clock, our whole story is just the last couple of seconds. Our earliest ancestors, 6 million years ago. Learning to control fire, less than 1 million. Homo sapiens being the only humans left, just 40,000 years ago. Farming is only 10,000 years old. And the Industrial Revolution that built our modern world, that was a mere 250 years ago. A blink of an eye. And check this out. It took all of human history, up until 1804, for us to reach 1 billion people. But we hit 3 billion by 1960. And today, we're over 8 billion. That acceleration is something this planet has never, ever seen before.
And all of that unprecedented growth has brought us an unprecedented challenge. Our impact is now felt on a global scale, with rising temperatures and shrinking biodiversity creating a brand new threat to life on Earth.
In fact, some scientists now believe that based on the path we're on, we could be witnessing the very beginning of the planet's 6th major mass extinction event.
And that brings us to a final, really important question. Through this whole immense 4.5 billion year saga of fire, ice, creation, and destruction, we are the very first species to become aware of the story itself, to understand our role in it. So, what are we going to do with that knowledge? What will we write in the next chapter?